Hello everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. Today we are hanging out doing some Herbie, and I promised my buddy Jeremy that I would finally get to cracking on my Marvel Crisis Protocol gang again. I took a little break here, just because I got a lot of painting projects that really filled up my time, but we're back into it, so I'm excited. Let's see. Let me get my paint cart near me. I'll start by asking for a, oh, hey, Connor. Thank you. Can everyone hear and see me okay? As we get settled, let's see, we need some gray. And so yeah, our Marvel Crisis Protocol, we got Venom, Lizard, Carnage, Green Gobbo, and Craven the Huntsman, or something like that. I think it's his name. The Hunter? Huntsman? Something like that. And I've been having a blast with them. The only character that I own that is not currently here because I don't care for him is Mysterio. And that's such a shame. I love me some Mysterio. And unfortunately, I've just now dipped my toe into Marvel Crisis Protocol, so I'm not claiming to be an expert at the game. I've just really had a lot of trouble getting him to do anything, like, interesting on the table. And I look online, and it seems to generally be the case. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is there. But it makes me feel better that it's not just me. User error is always a default of mine. So when it's like, nah, man, no one has good luck with him, like, awesome, nice, thank you, internet. See, we got Spezia. Hey. Let's see, based villains only squad. Yes. So this is the Spider Foes sub faction. If you're not familiar with Marvel, basically, you can take any characters you want. If 51% of your list is from their little list of, like, sub-factions, like, say, the Uncanny X-Men or something like that, you can get some extra abilities. In this case, the thematic aspect is that Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, has equipped everybody with really, really good weapons. Which is a neat concept. I don't know how anyone could stand against it, but his technology is like magic, like everything else in the Marvel Universe. Which Venom is in Eddie Brock? Right? Is that what you're asking? Like which character rocking the Venom suit? I believe. Yeah, because like they all have their superhero name and then like a alter ego name next to them. So like no matter which version of Spider-Man you have, you can only have one Peter Parker, for example, but you could have Spider-Man Miles Morales. And so I think for him, as of right now, as far as I know, like I said, I'm not super deep into the game quite yet. We've just been playing some demos basically. But all the games have been super close, and I've just really appreciated that. Last one I got stomped pretty hard, but we both agreed, once we put the dice down, we both agreed that there was like 4 critical moments that I kept doing like their big super attacks because I had plenty of power on me. And every single time I rolled one of those, the dice just abandoned me. To the point where my opponent Jeremy was just sitting across the table and going like, "Oh, Doug." It's like this. There's no way mathematically this should happen this many times. But that's okay. I'll get these guys done. I still have Craven. I haven't even started him, but he's actually been the best model for me in this game so far, which really surprised me. But he's dirt cheap, he has all kinds of cool tricks, and he can move across the board like a madman if you let him. Captain Rel, hey, hey. Yeah, there's some good alternate Venoms. Right on. Yeah, I believe, I'll have to find his card, but I believe it's Eddie Brock right now. Good old, is it Toby? What's the name from that 70s show? Who was the Venom with Tobey Maguire? I can't think. Topher Grace, is that his name? No. I might be butchering that. Okay, let's throw down. What do we need for Chaboy? We need some skin color. I don't know if God's real, but I know R and Jesus is a thing. Yep. Yep. So I'm going to be applying... So I'm basically, in this session, I am painting the bases for these three. Gobbo, Carnage, and Venom. I'm going to do a little bit more work on Lizard because I don't like the way he is right now. Yep, Topher. Okay, I couldn't remember his name. I don't know why. Because I don't like the way Lizard looks at this exact second. But that's okay. We can fix it. All things can be repaired. And painting up a Craven. I was super worried when I got into Marvel that, hold on a second. God dang, this song is intense. And no matter how much I turned it down, it still feels super loud. Let's see. I like how that song's called Refreshing Clarity. It's like there is nothing refreshing about in your ear. That's all. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. I was worried when I started playing Marvel. It's like, oh man, is this going to be like a super competitive game where there's like just a lot of haves and have-nots? Kind of, frankly, like there were in War Machine and Hordes, which is a lot of the guys came from that company who made it. And then, if you look at one of the Craven's abilities, I was like, it put my mind at ease. He has one where if he kills a Spider-Man character, so it could be any of them. As far as I don't know, it doesn't have to be Peter Parker, but like even Miles or whatever. He can basically put on the costume and become Spider-Man. I was like, oh, that's what a dumb, awesome rule. I love it. I'm here for it. Sign me up. But yeah, I got the... I don't remember which other guy came in the box with Craven. I think it was Lizard. And I got it because I do like Lizard. Just from the 90s cartoons that I watched. I don't know anything about him, really, from the comics or anything like that. But, and then the last 2 games I played, Craven turns out to be the MVP. And I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. Pulling the old Superior Spider-Man. Let's see. Who's your favorite Marvel character? Omar. Oh, good question. I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't really watch hardly any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which I know might be a sin. My friend Martha told me that she was disappointed in me that I hadn't seen any of the new Spider-Mans. Cut me deeper than any of the comments in the YouTube section here about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. But it was in jest. Yeah, what do I think? I don't know. Favorite Marvel character? I've always liked the X-Men, honestly, because I love how the X-Men can move between superhero power fantasy and like super intense discussion about real world issues just by the nature of them being an allegory for a myriad of things. But yeah, that's always been a big one. Okay, so we got that. And now we need to build up some white. What are we painting today? We've got some Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I don't think I'll have time for it, but I actually just finished priming my last unit of Boar Boys for my Bone Splitters. Well, I dare say this paint is on its last leg. That's okay, we don't need it to do much. Right now I'm just adding some more white because there was a few places where it wasn't quite as opaque as I wanted it to be. New Spider-Mans are very charming. Most recent one especially. Right on. I dig it. Yeah, I mean, I'll get to it eventually. Make sure to move this camera up a little bit. I feel like I'm always just off screen. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna watch him. It's just I got real tired of watching Uncle Ben die. Oh, we get it. You're set. I'm just kidding. Doug, if you don't know much about Craven, it's basically the Forgotten Lands Black Panther. He often tactics behind groups or just hunting mostly Spider-Man. Yeah, it's thank you for that. I didn't know much about him, but I got the hunter theme. That was very well established with his abilities. I was like, oh yes, this guy's about one thing. Because all of his cards are like traps for things. You're like, oh, this is cool. Connor, what'd you eat of the game? Honestly, the biggest thing is just my buddy Jeremy was into it, and I enjoy the gameplay. Like, I've played it before. I had some when a local group just north of me was getting into it, and then I realized I didn't really care for that gaming group and decided to mosey on somewhere else. And so I had some stuff, and I ended up selling it. Because I'm Doug, and that's what I do. And then, I mean, it was like 2 years ago, so it's not like I just sold it and then a friend was like, hey, let's get into this. It was a while, a respectable amount of time, I would say. And yeah, he was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting into this. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I played it before. It's quite a bit of fun. It's probably one of the better skirmish games on the market. maybe not the most accessible. I still think Warcry kind of wins in that regard, but it's great. It's great because it lets you do all the things you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way to get one-shotter off the table because your hero card flips, and they have like two sides where they have a damage side and a good condition side. And if your guy takes a beating, you just flip him over so he's not super out of the game round one. And then they can like throw buildings and stuff. Venom can do this cool thing where he pulls enemies towards him rather than doing like the Spider-Man leap forward thing. And so it's just awesome to like rip someone off an objective, punch him in the face a couple times. Oh, so good. Right on, Spets. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. The water, though. You like him? I like him. I tried. It's not my best. But it's difficult with the water on this guy because he doesn't... It's weird. I almost wish there was more texture on the water. But yeah. But I do like him. But unfortunately, this means I seem to have lost my AOS, or one of my AOS buddies, as Jeremy has become much more interested in this than his Soul Blight. But to be fair, he might just be tired of kicking my ass with the Soul Blight. Maybe he was like, I'll try a different game with Doug. Maybe he'll be better at this one. And it's like, you have no idea how bad I can get at games. Okay, good. Let's go back to Craven here for a sec. But yeah, overall, it's been a super fun game. I remember asking my buddy Dan from Tectonic Craft Studios once explained it to me, and he said it's a super thematic game, and I was like, is it? Because it feels like when you take all named characters, you know, theme kind of falls out the window. If I could have Magneto fight alongside War Machine, or, you know, any of those other combinations where it make you raise an eyebrow if it happened in a movie or a comic. And he did a great job of explaining, like, it's not thematic in the sense of every mission is a story that you would see straight out of the comics. It's thematic in the sense that when you think about these larger-than-life heroes on the table, you get to do all the things that you think that they should be able to do. And I was like, huh, okay. And turns out he's dead right. Cody Griffin. Oh, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. Always good to see you. I super appreciate that, friend. Let me ask you, Cody, since you threw something in the pot, got any questions for me? Anything you want to talk about? Could be Marvel, could be Age of Sigmar. I don't know why it took me so long to think of the game that I talk about 24/7, but hey, here we are. Awesome. It's my birthday. Get to hang out with Doug. Well, happy birthday, Chris. Happy for you. Hope it's a good one. Hope you get plenty of chances to relax and take a break from the world. Chris, as a birthday gift, I'll open up to you. Is there anything you want to talk about? Any subjects on your mind? It could be any game, any format. Let's see. I saw an MMO Corp scroll where someone was dimming Red Skull alongside Deadpool and Captain America, and it seemed super weird. It is, I'll be honest. They try to like corral you into more thematic lists by like incentivizing you with extra rules, kind of like how it used to be that you could do anything in Age of Sigmar with your army, and then they're like, well, actually, if you stick to your army, and that's when Allegiance abilities were born back in AOS 1. And it's sort of like that to an extent, as long as 51% of your list is from a sub-faction, in this case Spider Fiends, or Spider Foes, you're fine. But yeah, it is a little weird, I'll give you that. Let's do, what color am I looking for? Ogre, Ungor Flesh. Hold on, because his vest that he's wearing is like a, kind of looks like a lion's head, and it goes into a mane. So I think I want to do something with that color-wise. Let's think about this. Activating big brain energy. Where are you? Yeah, let's do this. Throw down some Zendrist. Sandman is also very underrated. Like, regular dude has to be confined to Ban Island because if he touches land, it's an apocalypse event. I love it. Cody, just good, brother. Oh, well, thank you. Definitely enjoying my day, especially when it's warm enough to prime my models. I know. Isn't that so nice? We can finally get out and just like... It's just the easiest hobby progress to achieve, but it's the most infuriating when you can't do it. That has been my experience, at least. I can't say for you, but when it's like, I just need to be outside for like maybe 8 minutes. Let's see. Hey, Doug, what do you think about the new Thondian set coming out? I like the idea, but I think the best looks... do you mean the best? Do you mean like the incarnate or whatever? The beast? I'm so confused because it's not... Okay, so what do I think about it? I kind of feel the same way I did when Warcry Catacombs came out. Where... like, I would have much rather, like, get rid of the terrains that... Beast in the box, yeah. Get rid of the the terrain that's already been released. So like it came with those like the Sigmarite, you know, cities being built or whatever. We've already had those. Drop those, sell it for cheaper. There's enough loyal customers. It's Games Workshop. Like there's enough loyal customers that if people wanted it, they'd have it. And all it does is raise the price point of the thing, and it's like it might look good on a corporate spreadsheet of how much you can expect to earn, but if it doesn't like facilitate further sales, meaning people don't want to buy it because they already have a bunch of this crap, I don't see how it helps, but that's up to them. With Catacombs, I had just said, like, you know, if you dropped the terrain that was already out and just had the Catacombs set and sold it for $85, it would have been a banging value. But as was, I couldn't really recommend it for anyone who was already into Catacombs, just because you probably already have half the stuff in that box. The super cheap airbrush kits you find on Amazon are pretty shoddy. Yeah, I got an airbrush once. I still have a compressor just in case I want to try, but I just did not have a good time, and I didn't... Part of it is, I feel like YouTube is already a secondary hobby, and I'm constantly trying to figure out how to do it better and better. So what I don't want is a 3D printer or airbrush or some other thing where it's like, you can use this in your hobby, but it's kind of its own thing. It's going to take some time to learn it on its own because it's a very specific tool. And I just don't want to take the time to learn it. It's pretty much as simple as that. I think the next time I go to a convention that has a airbrushing class, I would do that, because I would like to come back and feel prepared to jump into it, but just sitting around figuring it out and breaking it and cussing just doesn't work for me right now. Oh, wow, another 10. Thank you so much, Cody. I got you. Who knows what happened to Vandus Hammerhand? How do you feel about Warhammer TV? Do you like where AOS is currently? Well, those are great questions. Let's go from the top. Warhammer TV. Never actually watched any of it. I have the year-long subscription. Have literally never opened it. Part of it is because they have the jankiest system. Like, for actually logging in to watch the content, it's the worst. You go to the Warhammer, what is it? Warhammer Plus page, and then it splits you off to all these little subsidiary pages, and it's like, just have one frickin' library, y'all. What else? So that was a bit underwhelming. Once I saw that, it was like, oh, this is going to be a pain in the tail to navigate. Don't care anymore. Beyond that, let's see, how else do I feel? As far as where AOS is, give me just one sec. Let me just... how do you feel about Warhammer TV? Already answered that one, so I don't know about Warhammer TV. Do you like where AOS is currently? I don't know. It's tough. Because, like, on one hand, like, yes, I do enjoy the games that I play. And keep in mind, I only ever play casual games. I'm really not a competitive person. I just have one or two friends that I play locally. So, yes, I do enjoy those games. As far as where the game overall is, man, there's a lot of bloat. And for me, like, I'll level with you. I just need my Battle Tome, the mini core rulebook that they're promoting in some of these new boxed games, and the new Thondia book. That's it. That will complete my entire Warhammer experience, and I will have a great time. But I can also look out and see, like, if you want to do anything other than that, when it comes to, like, events and how things are run and the number of resources you need to have, and before you even start talking, like, event packets and stuff like that, it's a lot. You know, but this is the way Games Workshop does business. Is they launch a new edition, drive it into the ground with bloat, launch a new edition, and sell you a bunch of more stuff. Drive it into the ground with bloat. It's just, and that sounds like I'm down on it. It's like, no, it's just their business model, and I've been around for a few of those on the 40K side as well as the AOS one. And I'm no intention of going anywhere. I just acknowledge that that's what they do. And so we're in a period of time where it's like, I'm cool with just hanging back and letting bloat happen and other people get mad about it. Where's my Jakiro orange? But, you know, as far as, like, where the factions are and stuff like that, I mean, I'm happy with it. I know everyone had a hissy fit when the new Hunter-Prey rules came out. Honestly, I still stand by my statements. I think that they look fun and engaging and whatever. But, yeah. It's tough to say because it's like, I guess it all comes down to how you define where Age of Sigmar is at. Because if you ask, like, from a rules perspective, I think it's fine. You know, there's some bloat happening, absolutely. But there's a difference between what is actually happening and what the community online, depending on where you are online, will tell you. If you're in a nice positive group, people are going to talk about cool hobby stuff they've been doing. If you're in the wild expanse of Twitter, people are going to just... it feels like there's a propensity to just tell people why they can't enjoy things, but... I don't know. I needed to take a step back this last weekend. I was traveling, and so I think it ended up being quite fortuitous that I was traveling when I was, just because people were upset about the reveals show, about the tournament at Adepticon, about all, I mean, just a myriad of things. I was like, man, what a great week to not be part of the tuned in community, not a part of the community. I was still following all of it as much as I could, but just as far as the folks who are get really, really intense and upset about stuff. Good day to check out. Let's see. I need some Averlorn Sunset. Hello, Elrit. Very true. A lot of people think airbrushing is cheat mode. But yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I spend like I've had this happen a few times, even though a lot of folks don't believe me, where people will be like, "Why are you so bad at Age of Sigmar?" And I've had people just straight up ask me, "Why are you so bad at this?" And it's like, first of all, ow. Second, I'm bad at it because I spend all my time doing YouTube videos instead of playing it, because YouTube is also one of my hobbies. It's just a thing that I enjoy doing. But it's not for everyone. We've all seen channels that have like 1,000 subscribers and no more, because either the person doing it gets burnt out or they just don't have that kind of personality that people want to listen to. You know, and there's a myriad of reasons why people don't watch a thing, but this is my hobby as well. And so, in the scheme of everything taking time out of your life, this is mine. This is my time sink. Let's see. Storyline for second edition with the Necroquake was quality. It was dark and creative, and the new storyline for third, with destruction being bigger, doesn't seem to hold as much bite. You know, Warren, I could agree with you. I don't disagree. I mean, it's an opinion. That's awesome. My only thing that occurs to me is that when Soul Wars was released, I feel like there was more happening. Like, there were more Black Library books being published. We had the Night Haunt faction drop. You know, with this one, we had the Cruel Boys, but that was just 1/3 of a greater army that is Org War Clans. So I feel like not only were the story arcs different in terms of their sheer scope and stuff, but also the support for the story. Because remember, AOS 3.0 dropped, and it was just like dead silence for about ever, it feels like. At least that's the way it felt to me. I don't know about you guys, where it was just like, here's your new edition, and then crickets. You're like, okay, cool. Do we have any... You made a really cool, you know, for example, Path to Glory section. We're going to get any support for that? Crickets. Cool. Well, you made all kinds of rules that would allow for... Ooh, you know what I'm going to do? Hold on a sec. I got an idea. Big brain energy. There we go. Do I want to use red? Actually, now that I think about it, I want to pop a color on this base, so... Let's throw a blue stripe down instead of red. There isn't a single bad guy. Yeah, I'm hopeful when it comes to the Thondia stuff, because I like the idea of the realms themselves being the bad guy. That is to say, like, the incarnates represent the realms themselves being like, I don't want any of you guys to own me, which was great. I like that premise quite a bit, and it's something I've talked about on the channel. But yeah. So what I'm doing here with Carnage is I just put a piece of tape down to kind of have a nice little line. I want to have a strip on the sidewalk edge there. And so then when we do a highlight, then we're going to just dab it a little bit with paint for a quick and easy highlight. We'll come back here to Venom. Just throw a little more Avalorn Sunset in here. Sweet. Oh, Cody, you're so good to me, dude. How about them Fire Slayers? But honestly, I feel like the story is kind of slowing down instead of into a slow grind setting. Yeah, I mean, I liked Soul Wars because the framing of, like, here's one event that affects everybody, and that would of course be the Necroquake, right? It's a singular event in time, and everyone has their own stories for it. The orcs have their own mythos as to what's going on. Fire Slayers do, they call it like the... I can't remember what they call it now off the top of my head, of course. But you know what I mean? Like, there's all different kinds of beliefs surrounding whatever the heck is going on. And I like that quite a bit. And I just feel like we lost some of that. I don't know why. what I'm trying to do is just make a few different kinds of brown for the bricks on this building. Craven's standing on like broken down pieces of a brick building or a wall or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, it seems like it was a somewhat rough weekend for AOS, unfortunately, when it came to the events, just in terms of people being happy. But what can you do? We cared when Engelgard fell. Ooh, Davis, I haven't seen you in the chat in a long time, buddy. How you doing? What is up, my dude? I fell out of love with AOS. Yeah, I get that. Especially the more they keep adding when it comes to the bookkeeping, as far as like, well, I guess the newest thing to keep track of is what kind of army you have, if they are a prime hunter or whatever. Give me just a minute here. I'm just trying to be real careful around these bricks. That's why I've been a little quiet. Kind of doing the old inhale. Get the detail, and then... Okay, perfect. All right, now let's see. Are you a Marvel fan? Did you start MCP for another reason? I'm a light Marvel fan. I have a lot of nostalgia for the cartoons growing up, not so much for the massive movie enterprise that it has become. I don't really watch any of the Marvel movies, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yeah, it's not because they're like bad films or anything. I just kind of lost interest after a while. For whatever reason, I hated Civil War. That was the last one I saw, and that was the one where I was like, meh, I'm done with this. I followed it up till then. Like, I watched all the Iron Mans up till then, all that stuff. And then when Civil War happened, and like there's a scene where like Hawkeye and Black Widow are chatting with one another during the huge epic hero fight, and they're like, "You're going easy on me." I know. And it's like, oh, okay, so we all realize this is a dumb waste of time. Then what are we doing here, guys? We got nothing else we could be fighting. And like I read the Civil War comics as a kid, like they were super interesting. I just didn't think that that movie captured why. Call me when they do the zombie one. Boom, nice little blue stripe. For what I'm assuming is a handicap lane or something like that. Ooh, okay. Chat's filling up. I'm going to let some stuff dry and just answer some questions here in case you're wondering why nothing's happening on the screen. Let's see. Okay. Daylight Express. So yes, I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. The game is extremely fun. Like I look at it from the Spider-Man and X-Men cartoons of like the 90s where it was just ridiculous over the top stuff. But the game is great because it allows you to do all the things that you think those heroes should be able to do. The resource mechanic is incredibly fun where like say Venom, and I'm just going to use even numbers to make it really, really simple. Let's say Venom has 10 wounds and he gets punched by Carnage and does 3 damage. So now Venom has 7 wounds remaining, but for each damage caused by the enemy attack, he gets what's called a power, and you can use power to do like super abilities. So Venom might be cool in combat, but he has powers that like pull enemies from across the board to him, and he can like seismic throw a car at people. All of those things require this resource called power. So you get it naturally, at least 1 per turn. Some heroes can get multiple. So you get 1 just for showing up. And you get them for getting hurt, and some attacks give you power as well. And so it's a really cool thing because it makes you think in a very different way than Age of Sigmar does, where like Carnage hits him for 3 damage. He gains 3 power. Now when it's Venom's turn to activate, he can punch Carnage with his base attack, which will give him more power, depending on how much damage is dealt. Well, now you just gave Carnage power because you hurt him. Okay, well this could be a problem. Venom, for your second action, you're going to throw Carnage so that he can't use any of that power he just got with you because he'll be out of base-to-base contact or whatever. So Venom chucks Carnage out of the way, and like you can do these cool things, and thematically you can talk it out with whoever you're playing against. Me and Jeremy we're chatting. He had a role, and for those of you who play Marvel Crisis Protocol, your jaws will drop. Everybody else is just not going to care. So I had 3 heroes lined up. 2 of which were Kraven. I don't think it was Goblin, but it was Lizard. So my buddy Jeremy brings Black Widow as a last-ditch effort to try and like cap an objective. It's like, man, if I can just like push one of these guys away, I can do something. Uses an ability or a fight action which drops Lizard, and on some critical it moves him, so it pushed him into Kraven and killed him on his last wound. So like, to sum it all up, Black Widow walks up, punches Lizard in the dick so hard, she kills 3 people around her. It's exactly how it panned out. And you're like, well, damn. Didn't see that in the movie. Civil War absolutely wasted that entire run. Yeah, dude. Hated the original Civil War storyline, but I'm old-fashioned and prefer my heroes with masks. Fair enough. Maybe I'm just getting bored of AOS. I have found, for as much guff as I get, rightfully so, about constantly like getting sidetracked by different games, I'm gonna level with y'all. Every other game community is happier than than the Warhammer one. I mean, maybe the War Machine and Hordes community is the exception, but like every time there's a preview event or something, it's just the internet's just full of vitriol. So it's like, or I could go hang out on this other game's Facebook page where people are like super happy to play their game, to find anyone who plays with them. And so, and I know part of it is just my perception because, you know, where I live, there's not a ton of AOS people. So a lot of the feedback loop that I get is very much online based. But it just sucks the life out of me. And so I go and I hop on. That's how I found Blood and Plunder, which has been immensely fun. That's a historical war game set in the Spanish Main. You know, but all the other things were just like, it's just so refreshing to hang out with people who like their hobby. I say it a lot, so I won't go too much detail. Just, your life is too short to do all this stuff that you hate, to spend your time screaming at the internet at a board game company. And so, yeah. For me, I look at these other games not because I am bored with AOS, it's because I just want to hang out with people who love what they do. And that's honestly, it's why whenever I get like that, I always have to do more live streams, because I hang out with you guys. Because I feel like, overall, with the exception of a few bad players, I have a great community here on 2+, and I love it. People help each other out in the chat. No one's a dick. And it makes me happy. Dang right, I love my 2+ fam. Yeah. When other war games get a new model, their reaction is, we're getting this cool new thing, awesome. And you usually Warhammer, it's like, my faction didn't get anything. Yep, exactly. You nailed it. And I can't for the life of me figure out why that is. Jack calls it entitlement. I don't know if that's quite the word I would use. But there's something, man. There's something. And that's not a bad word. It's just, I don't know. And that's honestly, like, if you want to talk about hobby positivity, if you go look at Conquest by Parabellum, you will never find a happier bunch of people. I mean, and even Marvel Crisis Protocol is like, it can be a beer and pretzels game, and it's great for it. You could also crank it to 11 and have like a very tight rule set for a war game. And so, you know, it has that same flexibility on either end of the spectrum of just narrative for fun / very, very meaningful competitive play. And everyone's just kind of happy. I don't know. Give me just one sec here. When games get competitive, they also stop being fun because so many people take them on as a second job. You know, I thought about that. And I'm not convinced it's about competitiveness. I'm convinced it's about, I don't know. I think maybe it's the nostalgia factor. I don't know, but there's something about Games Workshop that just hits people in like the deepest place, that they get like viscerally mad when things change, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I've literally never cared about anything that much in my life. I'll have you all know, in a previous life, when Doug was in high school, I was a freaking contributor to Wikipedia, which is the Star Wars Wikipedia, BT dubs. And I loved Star Wars. I was so obsessed with it. And then when the new movies came out, with Daisy Ridley, who I think she did a great job. I feel like a lot of those actors, I want to see them in other things because I feel like the directing was so bad. But when I saw the new films, I was just like, you know what? This isn't for me anymore. I'm done. And I just stepped away. I don't talk about Star Wars very much, even though it was a big part of my life. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay that things change. And it's okay if things are no longer for you. I don't know who the new Star Wars movies are for, but I hope they love them. Is it because other games don't have tournaments? Nope. No, it's not that. I mean, other games do have tournaments. Marvel has a tournament. Conquest has tournaments. I mean, I feel like anytime it's called a game, there's going to be a tournament, provided it's not like a role-playing game kind of thing. So I don't think it's. I mean, yeah, even if it's a role-playing game, they still do speed runs of Skyrim and stuff like that. Like I feel like that's, people find a way to make something competitive. I don't think that's the marker of a bad community by any stretch, or not a marker, like a reason that a community would become kind of sour. Just trying to think of the word. Let's grab... Man, I need to put my paints away real bad. Iron Warriors, Thunder Brown. Looking for my lead belcher. Okay, I got a question for the chat, and then we're going to hop back into your guys' discussion, because I am enjoying this. I just want to make sure we don't kind of get too into the weeds on like what's wrong with every other game or what's wrong with Warhammer, because that's not really what I'm about. I'm about hanging out and having fun. So, have you guys ever had a paint that you loved and used all the time? Like you just wanted to paint that color all the time, and then something happened and you're like, actually, I don't like that color anymore. I know it's a very random question, but... Sorry, hiccups. Iron Warriors is that way for me. Is that what it's called? Yeah. The super dark metal. I don't know why. Like everything was Iron Warriors for a bit, and then one day I was like, actually, I think I like Lead Belcher more. Feels like there's a paradox between being a casual fan of something. You seek out fandoms online to share. Yes, it's just. Well, I mean, that's just people, right? You get enough people in a room, somebody wants to be the most passionate, the most excited, the most whatever. And we got a whole bunch of metal stuff on Chaboy here. Okay. All right. I'm going to give everything a second to dry here. Let's crank out some chat conversation. Michael, talking about enjoying hobby. I'm watching all of your lives a few hours later. Finally have time to hop in. Well, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Daylight Express, I'm in love with Conquest. So excited for the Old Dominion. Yes, actually, I hope this coming week to have Dominion videos. I just found out Parabellum is sending me a copy. I mean, I don't have an NDA with them, so I can share it with you, but they're sending me a set of the Dominion stuff, and I am considering just running a giveaway or something like that for it. I don't have an interest in playing that particular faction, but the models are incredible. I will give you that. Okay, Chaboy is ready for, looks like some of the lighter colors here. I'm looking for, yeah, I could use Wildwood. What else? Snakebite Leather, that's a great one. A Black Templar anywhere? Cool. Let's see. I for sure have been enjoying my 100 Kingdoms army. Yes. I love to play Soulbound. It seems awesome. Oh, yeah. Elrit. I need... Okay, I have a question for the chat. Where do you find groups to do role-playing games online with? Because I have this dream that I would one day love to do Soulbound on the channel, specifically with having, like, you know, first of all, first seats go to patrons, but anyone can join afterwards if there's not enough to fill a party, and just doing a couple of, like, one-off, you know, we'll just take an evening and do a little one-off in the Mortal Realms. However, I have never DM'd before, and I have played role-playing games a sum total of about 12 times. And that's like, one of them was a one-off by my good friend Spezia here in the chat, who is an absolute dream. But, like, beyond that, I have no experience. So, like, I guess what I'm asking is, how hard is it to run a simple one-off adventure? And I'm going to clean up the rest of that skin here later on. I'm just blocking out my base colors, because I would love to do that. I have all the Soulbound stuff, and I think it would reinvigorate me to restart my Soulbound videos online. Maybe I should just reach out to the Cubicle guys and just... Can you teach me? Doug, I'll be your fire slayer. Yes. Not hard at all, especially if you follow a module. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they have a whole bunch of modules. I wouldn't mind doing that. It's so weird. Whenever because I've looked it up, I was like, okay, how to be a DM for the first time, and I feel like all of the YouTube videos, which is pretty much how I've learned everything in my life. College didn't help me at all. Or start off with like role-playing games. You may have heard of them. In the 80s, people used to be called Satanists. And it's like, okay, get past the crap. I understand. I understand what a game is. Thank you. Well documented. Please move on. Let's not reinvent the wheel. That's right. And we got... If you're not confident, play with friends. Yeah, it's true. Oh, I didn't see this. Cody, I'm so sorry, buddy. The Salty Warhammer players are the same people who run Rivers of Blood, build through Elden Rings, and then invade people. I haven't played Elden Rings to get that reference, but I appreciate it. I've been really just engrossed by the art that I see online of other people playing it. I'm like, huh. And it's a good thing it's pretty, because pretty much everything online anymore is just Will Smith smacking Chris Rock and Elden Ring. I'm like, okay, well, apparently I have two options when it comes to memes. Give me a sec here. All my models end up being blue and metallic. I can't help it. I love it. Michael Gantner. The thing that frustrates me is that Vince Ventrella is one of the biggest YouTubers dedicated to AOS, becoming more and more negative towards the new changes. You know, I don't watch every episode of Warhammer Weekly. Can't speak to that. I just know Vince, and I know he's an awesome guy, and he just wants good for the game. So like, I do start with that premise, but I don't know. It gets a little bit hard to casually chat when there's an Excel sheet on everything. But that's how he thinks about things, and it's good, because those people need to exist in the hobby of just like, this is how you can make changes to a system. I don't know. It's just, I know he loves the game. He certainly wouldn't do all that if he didn't. And that's typically where I start. I'm like, meh. He loves the game in a different way than me. And none of the negativity that he could throw out is quite as dumb as the 3 hours when everyone thought the Warhammer app was broken yesterday and the internet had a hissy fit. That was fun. Good times. Okay, so what does this guy still need? So I need to... I think the wash is what's next, but I gotta wait for these contrast paints to dry just a smidge more. In the meantime, I'm in love with a Kellyan green. Nice. Vallejo Army green. Okay, I just got that one recently and I haven't tried it yet. I was going to do it on Lizard and then I lost the paint bottle and then I found it again after I'd already painted it with something else. Which is, I feel like is the story of my painting life, but... Just adding a little bit of rough yellow highlights to this bad boy. There we go. Just to brighten it up a smidge. And Basilicum Gray, where are you? Christopher, one of the TOs of Vault Wars Award was trying to set up a game when Soulbound was first released. I'm sure he'd be jazzed to run you through a session or two. Yeah, who is that? One of the TOs of Vault Wars. I would love to know. All I'm doing is just taking a liner brush and just tracing a little bit of Basilicum Gray down the deepest ridges. And I can add a wash to the smaller ones, little tiny divots. All right. Oon. I had a story set up for Soulbound that was following the trail of Gotrek. Players were hired by the Queen in an area whose son ran off with the Slayer. Nice. That's terrific. I like it. I'm trying to think of what my perfect story I would want to tell is. But again, it would have to be something I would want it to be a one-off. Or I suppose it doesn't have to be a one-off. I mean, if people are into it, I could always just have pre-made characters and like, hey, I have 5 characters that are telling this story. Here's what they're like. If you want to hop on board, take over one of them. You know, you're that person for that night kind of a deal. I don't know how into that people would be, though, because some people get really attached to their characters. It seems. Like I said, haven't really played a whole lot of games. Hey, Doug. Sorry. The first book. Been loving on Spotify during my commute, but the last update was last year. Do you have any plans to continue the podcast format at all? Not really at the moment. The reason is, and I'm going to be frank, I wanted to go full time, and there's just the ways to monetize on Spotify are, I'm going to say, meager. And it was pulling away from, you know, I'm a creator. I live on ad revenue and patrons and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe I can make it a Patreon tier that if I make so much, I can do that. Because at that point, I would kind of make up for the losses in ad revenue. But it was difficult. because not only does it take away from ad revenue, but it costs money to have the space to hold those big old files. So it ended up kind of being a twofer in a negative direction. But I really do appreciate you listening, and it does mean the world to me. I don't want you to think that, like, I don't care. These people aren't paying me money. It's just like, it's my livelihood, so that stuff does matter. But thank you very much. I would like to at some point. For a one-shot adventure, don't overcomplicate the plot. Make the player start quickly into a simple plot objective. We finish by the end of the session. That's a good point. Thor, what lore do you want to see from the new Battle Tomes? Okay. So Battle Tomes specifically, this is perfect because I don't have any of those. Okay. I would like to see... What would I like to see? I think it would be really cool. Sorry, I promise I'm not trying to leave you guys hanging on a cliffhanger here. I'm just trying to find my paints. I think I'd love to see... Let's go one at a time, just because I think that would help my brain. I'm getting jumbled between the two books. For Night Haunt, what kind of lore would I like to see? I want to know what Nagash is doing now. No spoilers. We know he's not dead because of some stuff that I read in a as yet unreleased game that has come out, or box game. Arena of Shades, that's what I'm talking about. I'm allowed to say the name. I want to know what he's up to. I want the Night Haunt to have more of a character. Like, I don't know how to word that in lore sense, but like, I want them to be more than like, this is the after effects of the Necroquake, which at the time was a super satisfying story. But now that they've been fleshed out with a bit more character, you know, on the part of like Lady Olander and all those kinds of things, I would like to see a little bit more. I don't think that's crazy. What else? Appreciate the reasoning. Yeah, and again, I'm trying not to make it sound like I don't think you were mooching off me or anything like that. There's what is it? The Privateer Press email that went out like years ago and called all their people freeloaders. We're like, hot dang, dude. No, I'm not doing that. It was just a very realistic thing I had to deal with. As far as the lore, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked in my brain. I keep bopping between the two books, and my brain is just not making any progress on either. So yeah, I want to know what Nagash is up to. So Night Haunt has plenty of characters, but I want those characters to have more character, if that makes sense. Lady Olander, I think, is awesome because she has a cool backstory and she fits pretty well into the settings of the Mortal Realms. There are multiple stories that happen near Dolorum, where she's from. She has a presence when she's in every of the books. Wrath of the Everchosen is a great example. Like, she's awesome. But the other ones, like Kurdos Valentian, is it Reikenor? Like, they just have blurbs, kind of like a Stormcast hero that gets dropped with no story to him whatsoever, no book or anything. So I would like to see those kinds of characters get a little bit more love. I think that's kind of where I'm at. because I almost issued the sentence, I want Nighthaunt to have more characters, but that's, you know, that's the problem. What else? So that's the big one from Nighthaunt. When it comes to the Daughters of Cain, I'm going to be honest with you and just say I don't have a dang clue. Daughters of Cain, I don't... I guess for them, I want to see... I think their book should be all about Harkuron, or what used to be Anvil Garden. Because... you know, she made her big power play. She got what she wanted. She got not demonhood. She got godhood. And so I guess my question is, what have you done with that? You know, I mean, it's kind of like whenever, not to bring this into too much of the real world thing, but whenever we have politics and we're trying to get, quote unquote, the right people in office, the question then is, well, what did you do once you got there? And that's kind of my thought there, is like, she asserts herself, Marathi, we're talking about, as being like, I should be the one, you know, I'm the only one qualified and the rightful ruler of this region. I conquered it, you know, I took it by conquest. What have you done with it since? You know, because if it just turns out to be like a garbage heap, nobody cares. But if Harkuron comes out as being like a strong military presence and a huge valuable asset to the other sections of the mortal realms, like, that's rad. Because if nothing else, they would at least poke a lot of doubt into the idea that Sigmar is the guy who knows how to do everything if somebody else is being successful. You know, I run your cities better than you do, kind of a deal. That could be a very powerful way to sort of chip away at the trust and that kind of thing that a lot of the cities and stuff are built on. That's really the only thing I have for them, you know, because like I want them to explain, I guess, a little bit more what's up with Cain. They kind of, in one book, were like, yeah, he's kind of around, but not really. He's kind of around. You know, Marathi has the last piece of him. It's like, well, there's ramifications if you have a piece of the guy you're impersonating. So like, what's up with that? Oh, thank you so much, Nolan. Glad I can catch a stream, listen at work. Hey, buddy, thank you so much. Okay, Craven, he is off to a great start. He just needs to dry. So what I'm thinking about doing with this guy, you can kind of see him here, the orange loincloth, I'm going to put tiger stripes on. He has one in the back as well. And then the rest of it, I'm going to make the... So like his jacket's like the face of a lion, and then the floofy parts on his back are like the mane. So I'm going to make a color distinction between the two, even though they're both based with Xandri dust. I'll put layer on top that make them a little bit different. So let's see. Probably do Shopty Bone for one. Or we could go fancy. See what else we got. We got Tau Light Ochre, Ungor Flesh. That might be a good one. Okay, hard question time. What is your least favorite Games Workshop paint? For me, Pallid Witch Flesh. Bleh. I've never bought a pot of it that worked as intended. Army Painter, if you're listening, I know you're not because I didn't get any speed paints, but if you are, make a better Pallid Witch Flesh and I'll promote the hell out of it. Korax White. Yep, probably a similar reason. Okay, I think we are ready for adding some black to the bases. Oh, here we go. Manzac Miniatures, hoping for a new Nighthaunt Hero Black Coach. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Cobus, yes, thank you so much. Yes, if you have YouTube Premium, you can download them and use them as tracks that you can listen to on the way to work. And that YouTube Premium doesn't prevent me from getting love from the advertising revenue type stuff. I had someone say, like, the reason I don't get YouTube Prime is because I want to make sure that you get paid. And I was like, no, please. Your life's too short for ads. Just get the dang thing. And oh, I should ask, Nolan, you got a question because you dropped something in the tip jar. I super appreciate it. Is there anything you want to chat about? Anything on your mind? Any books, games, factions? You can name an army and I'll just tell you why I think it's cool. Just got a Mega Gargant today. We'll turn in Chaos soon. Nice. It's good to know I'm still get paid. Oh yeah, I do. Yep. If you give you a peek behind the curtain, basically it looks identical. Because all YouTube cares about is, did you get people to come to our site and hang out for a bit? If yes, they don't care how you could do it. Premium users downloading long videos is also a heavy factor in the algorithm. Ooh. Look at that. All this time I've been promoting other games. I should have just been like, this is sponsored by YouTube Premium. I kid. I still only talk about games that I actually like. I think I've eased up on the Kickstarters though. It's just a weird time to launch a Kickstarter. There's so much going on in the world. I'm like, a lot of these games sound interesting, but I'm just not sure that they can actually do what they were hoping to accomplish with the way shipping globally is right now. I just saw that there's a little lip on all these guys between the base and where the actual, like, bottom of the mini starts. So I gotta go back and do that. So yes, I'm sorry, Nolan, do you have a question for me? I can answer that. Did I already ask that? Maybe I did. Just want to make sure I don't forget you, buddy. As far as the topic of AOS stories, man. Like stories we could do for Soulbound. So my dream one-off, okay, and this would probably work really well with the idea of having a fixed number of characters and then different players can rotate through them, is I want to do Squig Team 6. It is a combat story about orcs trying to be sneaky. It could be, I'll have a mix of bone splitters and Iron Jaws and Cruel Boys and even some Grots. I don't mind throwing those guys in there. But I just want to have like an elite A team made of just nothing but the dumpiest fighters in the Mortal Realms. I say dumpy in the sense of they're just not bright. So that's my vision. Now, who the enemy is that they're trying to stop, I have no idea. Maybe it's like breaking it into a cog fort. We could do a great bottle heist for the Gloomspite Gits. Could be fun. But that's my vision of the kind of campaign I want to run, where it's just like, let's just be stupid. I'll probably model off all the characters off of the A team. I think that would be quite a laugh. Plus, you know, if I at least if I do like an all destruction thing and it's meant to be goofy, then when someone does something I'm not expecting, or I kind of get fumbled up as a DM, I can just be like, "What's the dumbest thing possible?" That's what we're doing. 100%. Just waiting on this wash to finally dry. The other guys I'm super happy with. The minute they are dry, I have some brush on varnish here, so we'll get them all sealed up. I really need to seal Carnage because I did an oil wash on him, and if you're not careful, you can reactivate the oil parts, the pigment, so I gotta get that all kinds of done. But yeah, I don't know. Turnout, successful day of painting, I think. We got just Chaboy here at the end. Let's see. If you get your hands on Champions of Destruction, the Miracle Unity is so much fun. Okay, I love it. Yeah, I think that could be tons of fun. I'll start looking into that. Here, I'll take a picture of our progress so far. So I can make my buddy Jeremy jealous. I'm down for Squig Team 6. I call Stabgrot. Yes. When you'll be doing the Idenith Deepkin Lore Week? Yeah, I gotta get on that, don't I? Man. So okay. Maybe you guys can help me workshop this. We'll figure something out. Lore weeks have an immense amount of diminishing returns. By that I mean the first two videos always do exceptionally well, and then immediately after that they crush down. And mainly when I'm talking about units. And so it just seems like people aren't super into that. And so so I'm not quite sure what the solution is there. How I can engage people a bit more. throughout the week rather than just focusing on a specific thing. And I'll be honest, I don't understand it, because to me, some of the unit lore is like where the cool heart of the thing is. But I get, you know, when you're episode 4 into, you need a clickbaity thumbnail. Exactly. Here's all 4 units for the Fire Slayers. Number 3 will blow your effing mind hole. Get those divorce papers ready. We're talking Nith Deepkin. You're like, what? You're gonna second mortgage your house to get a Deepkin army? Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. No, you're good, Yeah, I have every right to ask. Okay. Peek behind the curtain. This is the part where I get to show that I'm a real person. I have zero interest in the Deepkin book. Like critically zero interest. I don't know why. The army just never really spoke to me. I was super excited for them at first. And then I don't know what happened. And that was like, when I say first, I mean like literally when they were first announced. Yeah, man. When Games Workshop was kind enough to send me the Fire Slayers and Deepkin books in advance, I had them for about a week. And I can honestly say I never touched the Deepkin book. I was just so enthralled by the Fire Slayers, which I still want to do an army of someday. I'm kind of holding off right now because I got a lot of projects going on at the moment. Need to pace myself, but I do want to do some Fire Slayers at some point. Let's see. Since you've already done lore for the units, most of the factions. Yeah, I mean, I've been focusing on, this is the stories from them. Totem Pole. That's cool, Davis. I have no suggestions, that because I feel like I'm just going to end up offending someone, but it's a rad idea. When I say offending somebody, what I mean is I don't know like what I don't want to suggest something that would be rude unknowingly. Although if you're looking for any kind of like totem pole, I highly recommend the Savage Orc box. Their banner bearer is pretty wild out there. Native art is beautiful. Absolutely. Almost done with these fine details. And it'll be a little bit easier to be in the chat. Okay. We're getting there. Oh, yeah. Kislev Flesh. For all destruction party, it could be something as simple as a Bangot. We cross the valley and punch anything in the way kind of deal. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to overcomplicate it or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. It just, the Deepkin book just never got me. I'm just adding a little bit of a highlight here to make these muscles look extra taut. Nobody wants a Craven the Hunter who missed, you know, arm and leg day. We want a hunter who's a beefcake. Nice. Let's see. What did I miss? Battle Barn. Spin them around. Don't do a full week unless it's Broken Realm stories. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm going to do a full week, I hope, for the Thondia book. But that's about all I have plans for in the immediate future. Cody Griffin, are Fire Slayers your only faction? I'm curious, buddy. I've seen you talk about them a few times, so I was just curious. Hey, Dad. Are you a coffee or a tea person? Have you ever put your paintbrush in your drink? I have not done that one. No, I don't. I don't keep my my beverages in the splash zone, as it were, while I'm painting. But am I a coffee or a tea person? Coffee. Coffee makes my world possible. That's a dramatic statement, but you know what I mean. I'm not gonna lie, I like this model an unreasonable amount. He's so fun. He's got all these little fur textures and stuff like that. You should do a poll in chat and see what people's main factions are. Could be neat to see. Oh, like like on my community page. That's where the most people would see it, rather than people who are just in this specific hangout. But yeah, I was thinking about getting more into those things, just because I want to ask questions like, where do you play most of your games? You know, garage or store or events, that kind of a thing. And what I'm doing now is just mixing a dash of Ushabti Bone in with some of the Tau Ochre to make kind of a midway between the two colors. Because if you look at lions, their manes are not vastly different from their head, but I want a little bit of distinction, because overall it's not a lion, it's just a jacket. What if I don't know what my main faction is? Yeah. Or what if it's like me and I just change every 2 days? I had someone leave a comment in a video that said my army swapping stresses them out. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Have you met me? Oh, what did it? Okay, wait, here we go. Doug, if you could choose one major character in any army to kill off permanently in the storyline of AOS, who would it be? Kill any main character, huh? Okay, so I have an answer. It's going to seem weird, but roll with me. Okay, just give me a sec to explain. I'm going to say Gorka Morka. And the reason I say Gorka Morka is that as much as I love the concept of Gorka Morka, they've done absolutely nothing with the character. But having a destruction deity character, I think, could be really, really cool. Obviously, we have Kragnos, but they keep saying he's a god, but it's just like, prove it. I don't know. He's not doing anything yet because they haven't released enough supplements for him. But, yeah, that would be mine. Like, hear me out. Kill Gorka Morka and then just do something with that space of a chaos deity. He could have, you know, Kragnos absorb him, and now it shifts all of the priorities of existing destruction armies who revered Gorka Morka. Maybe they just immediately transfer their worship over. That's fine, but the space that is taken up by Gorka Morka as a character is just not being used. So it's like, well, crap or get off the pot, dude. Like, Behemoth even has a space where it's like, he used to be Gorka Morka's buddy in the Age of Myth. I'm like, that guy has more of a tangential relation to destruction armies than Kragnos has to any faction. Like, any of them. Why? Why is the guy who got punked in the first chapter of the Realmgate Wars still more relevant than Kragnos? I'm bored playing the same army twice in a row. Yeah, dude. Welcome to the party. Same. Craven. I like him. Okay, let's grab good old Nihilic Oxide. I don't trust them to develop destruction. If they killed Gorka Morka, they probably wouldn't replace him with anything. Well, they already have the thing to replace him with. They could replace him with Kragnos. That'd be fine, but you have to actually go through the work of, like, writing the death of Gorka Morka and then... You know what I mean? Like, it's all there. They just haven't done any of it. Go. Rusted that sign up a little bit. Oh wait, that's actually a good brush. We don't want to drop that in there. Kragnos feels very shoehorned into the story. Yeah, I agree. So, like, I wanted to give it the benefit of a doubt of, like, introducing this character at the end of the Broken Realm series. I was like, oh, okay, so this will be the important guy going forward. And he is. Like, everybody has something to say about Kragnos. But he himself hasn't done anything other than pop out of his hole and look angry. Like, I loved his introduction. You know, someone who's out of time. He comes here and he's like, where's my home? And he sees Excelsius where his home used to be. So he gets mad. I'm like, I'm super down with that. Like, that immediately pits him in a good position why he doesn't like the factions of Order. I love it. But that's an introduction. It's not an arc. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a point of significance. It just, okay, so you gave me a motivation for him to go punch someone in the face. Cool. It was good for Broken Realms Kragnos, but I needed more after that, and I don't feel like they've delivered on that quite yet. Let's see. So my base color for the pants was Thondia Brown. Do any of you have a suggestion on what color to highlight Thondia Brown with? For some reason, the paint app isn't working on my phone. Maybe, what are you? Steel Legion Drab? Actually, that might work. Has anyone read the Kragnos book? No, he means the one that just came out. Junius, there's a Black Library book that has Kragnos on the cover. I started to listen to it. I don't care so much for the narrator they have in the audiobook form. So at some point, I think at the whenever my Patreon pays out or whatever, I'm going to hop on and just buy the actual written version. But I started it. I haven't finished it yet, to say that in a very long way. I mean, the start of it is pretty awesome, I will say. This isn't a spoiler because it's nothing to do with the main plot of the book, but they start off with fighting off a whole bunch of ogre maw tribes, and it's really cool to see how they all kind of take that. Deathclaw Brown. Ooh, I'll check that out. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with this guy. Let's see if I can get him on camera to look good. Yeah, he doesn't seem to want to. Craven. He does this great thing, so if you've never played Marvel, he has two attacks, one with the short knife, one with the spear. If you stab someone... Is it with the knife? I don't remember what the order is, but basically you can do two little stabs with the tiny knife, or you can do one longer one with the spear. But the trick is, if you stab with a little knife, and then you stab with the spear, meaning it's like a combo move, he gets bonus attacks on the second one. Whichever order that is, I can't quite remember. But yeah, so he's a really cool, like he just does this cool combo attacks, just wrecking everybody's day. He's a cool guy. And I'm going to go ahead and call him done. Dunzo. Okay, Warren. Which army do you think is the least loved? With that, I mean, nobody seems to want to get into it. That's a tough one because there's so many things about the question of why people are not getting into particular factions. Because, like, I would say Skaven are one of the most beloved factions of any Warhammer fan, but new players don't want to get into it because it's a frickin' headache. You know, I mean, the way that the battle tome is structured and the way that battle line works and how you have all these little subdivisions and clans, and well, if you add this one model, all of a sudden your whole army composition falls apart. Like, that stuff sucks. It does. It's what got me out of Skaven. Because at a certain point you realize, oh, I might as... So if I want to play all the cool things in this one book, Skaven, I need to build like 4 complete distinct armies. It's like, this sucks. And it has nothing to do with the faction. People love it. So, like, that's kind of a hard... You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes the question hard to answer. As far as like aesthetics and stuff like that, I mean... I don't know. Warhammer casts a pretty wide net. There's a whole lot of whatever floats your boat going around. What are some other ones? I'm just doing a matte varnish here real quick. I have a can of Munitorium, spray to seal these guys, but unfortunately, it is super gross outside and it's not going to work. Let's see. There's a good case to be made that Fire Slayers is that way. Bone Splitters I would also put on that list because, like, technically the only reason anybody owns any is because they want to play Big Wah. They're the forgotten stepchild that is 1/3 of a faction. But I will make them see. Warboss Durgrogs is fit to skip. Daughters of Cain, never seen anyone playing them. Yeah, I've only ever seen Daughters of Cain when I go to, like, events. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're a very competitive army and have been for some time. That's cool, but it does kind of bum me out that there's really not a lot of casual, foot is not perpetually on the gas pedal players. I have some friends locally, both my buddies Jeremy and Rob are getting into Daughters of Cain. And that's cool. I mean, I'm excited about that because it'll give me a chance to play those kinds of games. But yeah, on the whole, my experience with that army over the last several years that it's been out is that you don't see them much unless people are coming to kick you in the teeth. Have you tried Big Wah yet, Doug? I have not yet, but it seems narratively interesting. No, I haven't actually looked at the new Big Wah, if I'm honest with you. Okay. I am a special snowflake. I understand that about myself. Whenever anyone says, this army sucks, I immediately want to stop everything, sell everything I own, and play that army. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like this, but because I know people do play Big Wah, I look at that and I'm like, I'm never going to touch Big Wah. I just want to play my Bone Splitters. But that's apparently my own personal damage showing, so who knows? I don't know. The Fire Slayers look a bit dull. In the old world, dwarfs have the Slayer models with mohawks. It was cool. Now in AOS, the whole army looks like that. Kind of takes the edge off. I would agree. I do think they need, if they had just added 2, maybe even just 1 multi-kit, right? 2 units, 1 multi-kit. That was just aesthetically something different. I think that army could really... The potential there is great. It's just when everything looks the same, it does just take the wind out of your sails. Now, it's gotten better because fewer models are required every time they get a book. Like increasing the number of wounds per guy and all this kind of stuff. The repetition, I think, is going down because of the number of models required, but that's not the same thing as, like, having diversity in sculpts and stances and, like, everyone is a naked dwarf walking forward. And I say this as someone who's going to get into the army. Like, I do like the faction. But, it's probably more so than any army. You can look at a single box of, like, a single kit from that faction and be like, do you like this? If yes, buy them all. If no, put the box down and walk somewhere else, kind of a thing. Which is good. They got an aesthetic. They're leaning into it, but there's a reason, accent colors exist. It's because sometimes you just need to break up what you're doing a little bit to make it more interesting. There we go. Now I can go play Marvel with my buddy Jeremy without embarrassing myself because none of my stuff's painted. New life hack. Getting an army painted. Get Doug excited about an army project, then tell him another army sucks. Exactly. I'm telling you, I don't do commission painting, but if you want me to paint something for you, hook me up at a deal for it, get me excited about it, and then just sit back and wait. That's the art of the deal. I'm just sealing in these beautiful black rimmed bases. Oh yeah, Dunzo. Woo! But yes, that is exactly how you get an army from me. If anyone's looking for Stormcast, I got Knights Excelsior sitting here. Collecting dust. I'm going to trade them in for some more Bone Splitter things. Just a couple more. And then start fleshing out a Tzeentch army that I'm building, because I am going to take them to Holy Havoc. And also, we don't have a ton of Chaos players locally, so it would be cool to do that. I want to lean into the Arcanites, the Immortals, because I think they have some really cool models. And you never see them. Again, you know, Doug varnishes rims a monster. Oh, yeah. Everything I do is like a monster. Look at this. Look at that paint water. Look at these 4 brushes just sitting here. This is the opposite of ASMR. Everything I do like a monster. Oh, man. Welcome to Doug's Painting Channel. I'm bad, and you can too. Which looks the coolest Marvel model? Warren, I'm not sure I understand the question. Which looks the coolest? Oh, are you asking which of the MCP models is the coolest? Oh, I really like Mysterio. I actually have him right below me. I will have you know, this water's been sitting here for a couple days. I went to Pennsylvania for the weekend, and 3 of these brushes sat in there the entire time. I use them for mixing paints and adding water and nothing else. And yeah. Yes. Okay, let's take a look here. Pulling it up online. Atomic Mass Games. William Kennedy, hello from England, Doug. You're a bit of a legend with my gaming group. Oh, thank you. Loving the content, lady. Hoping to watch the rest of the stream. Get some painting done once I get the kids to bed. Well, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. Gallery. Okay, we'll go over here to the shared screen. For me, I think they got better as time went on. I do like the Miles Morales. I'll throw that. I'm just going to open these into separate tabs and I'll check them out later. The Doctor Strange is a great sculpt. Ghost Rider is rad. was the other one? There was one that I just thought was incredible. Oh yeah, there's their Moon Knight. I don't know anything about Moon Knight. I have never heard that before. Yeah. Man, so many of these are good. These are my highlights. I like the Miles Morales hopping over the news box. Also Spider-Gwen. Pretty sweet. I am not a Doctor Strange guy per se, but I like this model in terms of representing like the kind of the ethereal magics that are around him and stuff like that. So that makes me happy. I did play against Wong, and he got punked real hard. The Ghost Rider model is sweet. Lots of dynamicism. Pardon me. Excuse me. It's about that time of the year when my allergies start kicking up. So we have Blade. I think if I were to put this model on the table, I would literally never call him Blade. I would just call him Wesley Snipes. And then Moon Knight. And then Juggernaut is one that I will put down for being an incredibly cool model. He just has such a dynamic look to him, and it just matches the kind of menacingness of his character. Those are some of my faves, Warren. Let's take a look here. What are we at? 2 hours and 12. Yeah, I think I'm about to call it, friends. I was always a big Iceman growing up. Iceman. Oh yeah. One thing I will say is I was asked if you could have the powers of any X-Men, what would it be? Okay. Now I want to hear your guys' answers, but I'm going to give you mine in the process. I say Jubilee. And yes, Lord Vledick, that is a traffic light. I say Jubilee. And if you're not familiar, Jubilee basically makes sparklers and fireworks. Totally useless. Okay. And a friend asked me, why would I ever want to be Jubilee in my life? And I said, listen, she's powerful enough to cause trouble, right? Like, she can do things to manipulate people around her, but she's not strong enough that anybody would, like, ask her for anything. No one's going to be like, oh my God, the world's in peril. Get Jubilee on the phone. Like, it's never going to happen. And so it just ends up being like, she's just kind of there. She gets to hang out with the heroes, go on the cool missions, but no one's, like, expecting much of her. And that is how you get through life, friends. Be around the cool action, but, don't have any responsibility in it. So, words to live by. Let's see, we got Venom. It's looking good, looking nice and scary. Big Monster Man. Sweet. I'm pretty happy with how these guys turned out. I thought Craven was going to take a little bit more time, but he actually came together really quickly. He has a lot of the same colors, a lot of the same warm colors, so I was able to build up really, really easily on top of one of them. Magneto or Gambit. Yeah, if I was going to be... If I'm not doing the meme answer, I'd say Gambit. He's my fave. It's a good life when everything's around you as a weapon. Alright, well, I'm going to start cleaning up my hobby space. Desperately need to before I can start recording again. And hopefully get to work on some fun videos for you guys this coming week. What's today? Thursday? Yeah. Anyway, I got a special video coming out Saturday, and I hope to see you guys there for that. Nightcrawler, Quicksilver, Magneto. Yep, those are all solid choice. I mean, they're very powerful for a myriad of reasons. If Nightcrawler had just a pair of pistols, he'd be unstoppable. But yeah. Okay. I keep getting distracted. I saw a video about Jubilee versus Sabretooth. Super cool. Sadly, the guy removed all his kata. Oh, bummer. Bummer. All right. Everybody, you have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time. Happy wargaming, friends.